Hey everyone, this is DJ Fist on Castle Blakk Radio with Liege of Cookies. I'm here with Rev Jones tonight. Rev, how are you this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for taking the time for the interview. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me.
So we have something in common. You're a bass player. I'm a bass player. You're a heck of a lot better than me, but it's all good. So we might be focusing on bass talk in the same.
That's fine. It's a good focus area.
Yeah. So let's just start off with the album Bakwash. Tell me about it. It came out like looks like
November.
November, yeah.
Yeah, November. It's actually my first solo album I ever put out.
Right.
I've been on so many albums all through my life, but I never did one myself, and I actually didn't even plan on it. Whenever I'm not on the road playing, I always do like the Rev Jones band, and we play shows around, and I do songs from all the bands I played with, and different songs that I've written that I never put out, So I was actually re-recording some so the guys could learn them, and then I come up with the idea of just giving them away on my website, and Jim Dofka, the guy that ended up playing the solos on the album and mixing it, he's the one that talked me out of that. He heard it and he thought it was, that it was actually too good to
don't
just,
don't give it away.
Yeah, it was in total demo form. Even though those songs, those first four songs didn't change with the exception of the guitar and drums, everything else stayed the same. But, he heard something that I just wasn't even thinking about. So, I agreed. Yeah, okay, we'll do it. He wanted to mix it. And so, we just kind of recorded it in our own time in our, own houses, studios and stuff, So, it was actually, in the amount of time that was spent actually recording and stuff, it would have been basically a weekend. But, but this was drawn out over, a year and a half or something, maybe almost 2 years maybe. And then, another year of, I shopped it around it, trying to find somebody to put it out.
Right.
And it just, a lot of people were interested, but it was, I felt like I had to pay them.
Oh, wow.
The offers they were given, that's what they give everybody. Trust me. And, so I just decided I'll put it out, and mainly I wanted to get it out so people could hear the stuff. I'm a realist. I've been playing long enough that I know it's very it would be very unexpected to sell a whole lot of records, like the old days.
Right.
Everybody went in thinking that. I'm a realist. I'd rather people hear them and then want to hear more.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, I do like to make enough money to live.
Oh, of course.
But so I put it out and hired some people to work on it, and so it's doing well actually. It's already sold more than I expected it to sell right off, and I've almost probably broke even already.
That's
in less than 3 months. So and I'm gonna put a video out here in about a month of using footage from the studio and, a couple other things we shot, just a basic one. And, maybe get a little more push,
Yeah.
Because, I think it's one of those albums that, because obviously all three guys are, shredders at their instruments. And, so it's one of those things that, you can't deny it. If you're a musician, you can't deny, listening to it.
Oh yeah.
And then everybody else knows, even if they don't know why, they're just like, God, there's something killer about this,
Yeah. It catches you right away. It's not an album that's like, well, it's going to build up, then it'll get good. And
it's just, it's very similar, as like Joey Allen from, Warrant, as he describes the album. It just reminds him of whatever Steve Vai and Billy Sheehan played for Roth, You had that, it came out and it was like, oh my God, everybody in the band is the top of their game.
Yeah.
And, even if you didn't really like the songs, it did something to you, you know, or even like whenever Van Halen first came out, you know, the same impact it had on people, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And, I mean, I know a lot of those kind of bands that I still, you know, Mr. Big was that way, you know, there's a lot of those kind of bands that even if you don't like the songs, you're like, God, I want to hear them, you know.
Yeah, a lot of people say like Mr. Big, oh, they have that ballad and that's all they know, you know.
Yeah.
They have other great songs that just that ballad doesn't find them.
It's always the ballad that kills you, you know. But the thing is, if it wasn't for the ballad, you'd be saying, hey, weren't you and Mr. Big? And they'd be going, yeah, do you want a pepperoni and sausage on that? You know, because if you don't have money, you're working somewhere, you know.
Exactly. That's funny. When I heard you, I mentioned to the other DJ at the station, this guy sounds like Billy Sheehan. So with all the tapping.
Yeah, well, I got that. I mean, I used to love Sheehan's playing. I actually didn't get as much of it from him as, like Tony Levin playing Chapman Stick and, you know, and like stuff like that. But it didn't matter because I played rock. So you know, we would always play those songs and people would take lessons. They always wanted to learn, you know, and I even on my DVD, because I show all these different, you know, like popular songs that everybody should know. And I show the beginning to Addicted to That Rush, you know.
Oh, okay.
And just because that was probably the most common. Right when that came out, everybody came to me and said, I want to learn that.
Yeah.
And, you know, which is awesome. I love Billy. You know, he's a, you know, super awesome guy, you know. Even back then when I first met him, I think he was still in Tallis whenever I first met him.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, then I didn't meet him again. I already, you know, talk to him again until he was in Mr. Big. And, you know, it was each tour I've seen him, you know, and he always remembered me even back then, you know, and, you know, at one time I gave him a sampler of, you know, 2 or 3 different albums, you know, like, and, it was cool because he came back after the show. We were back there, you know, hanging out to talk to him, and he came up and he started talking to me about the songs.
Oh, wow.
You know.
Yeah.
So he actually listened to it because it was on a cassette, you know, so he didn't just, you know, go through it, a little bit of each song. He had to listen to it, you know, and, so that was kind of cool, you know.
Yeah. You give your music to somebody who's like, all right, here's my music. You're never going to listen to it. You can just throw it away now.
Yeah. And I always remember that whenever, you know, like if somebody, you know, comes up or writes me and they're a fan and, you know, and they, you know, like send me a link to check out their thing. I always go and check it just because even if I don't want to or have time or whatever, I think of that, you know. And,
yeah, definitely.
And what's cool is actually here recently a guy from, I think Italy or Greece, had wrote me, and he was a big fan of, my first, signed band, which was Forte. You know, it was a speed metal band in the early 90s. And, he's always a big fan of mine, and, you know, his band sounded like it. And I said, well, cool. And he said, I want to send you a link. So he sent me a link, and so I listened to it, and it's funny because it sounded exactly like that band. Including the bass lines he was playing sounded exactly like what I would have played.
Oh, wow.
So it was pretty cool, you know, so I complimented him on it and all that, and, you know, it just made his day, but it was also at the same time flattering that, you know, somebody was copying something that you did
you're
20 years ago.
Influencing, something that long ago.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, you know.
Yeah. But I know it's always good to do that. I interviewed a guy with a band, Deceased, the singer of the band. He's a really cool, outspoken guy, and he said, you know, send me your stuff, and I sent him a link, and he actually listened to it and told me what he thought about it. So that's always nice to hear. So.
Oh yeah. Well, I've also learned that, you know, it's I grew up, you know, playing with all these great bands like Cantera, you know, we were all buddies, and Rat Out America, and, you know, all those bands during that time. Yeah. And, those were always the coolest guys. And we played in Forte, we played with so many nationals, you know, just picking up regional, you know, 2 or 3 shows here and 2 or 3 shows here. And, most of them were pretty cool, but it was those guys all the bands that were real jerks that always reflect back on them. And none of them went on to get any bigger, but all the cool ones did. Yeah. You know? And I don't want to be that guy that, you know, then I tried to talk to that bass player and, you know, he blew me off. So I always have to watch, cause you can do that without doing it on purpose,
Yeah.
It's real easy because you're just, exhausted. You're not really paying attention. So I always try to talk to, everybody that if I don't want to talk, I just make sure I don't see anybody.
Yeah.
But,
that's always good to, when you go to a gig, to actually hang out with the band, at least for a few minutes if they're a bigger band, just to say, hey, shake the guys' hands and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. And, well, it's like that I was on one of the Michael Schenker tours, one of the last ones I did. It was, Carmine Apiece was playing drums on the tour.
Oh, okay.
And Michael and Carmine did a meet and greet thing, where you paid so much.
Mm-hmm.
You got to come and watch sound check.
Yeah.
And then you got to meet everybody and take pictures. And then in some instances, depending on, if there was only a couple of people, they would get to come back after the show, either onto the bus or the dressing room, and hang out for like 30 minutes and just, talk.
Yeah.
Well, of course that didn't have anything to do with the band. It had to do with them. So it was up to us if we wanted to, just disappear or, do it. And I mean, I was like, well, that would be, you would seem like the rudest person if you just, walked off. I'm not getting paid, so I'm not doing this,
Yeah.
So, and I would sit there and I'd talk to every one of them, and I'd look over sometimes thinking, why are they getting paid?
Yeah. The people,
yeah.
The fans pay a little extra money for that. Depends on who it is.
Yeah.
They might pay for it, but it grows your fan base, They're going to tell their other friends, hey, these guys are real cool. You should check them out next time they come to town and all that stuff. So.
Oh yeah. And you're if somebody's an asshole, you're never going to like the band anyway.
No, if one guy's an asshole, the whole band's an asshole.
That's why I never want to meet Paul McCartney. Because I don't want him to, if he looked over and said something that I didn't like, I'd hit him. I don't want that. I don't want, my image of them, gone.
Yeah.
So, because you look up to people and you don't want to ruin that. And I know so many people that have really wanted to meet somebody, and I'd even told them, yeah, you should not go meet that person. I know what that person's about, and they did, and
you're right.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and sometimes, it's not even that person's fault really, it's that, some people just take offense at, not realizing what you went through in a day or whatever,
Yeah.
And, but, everybody's themselves. So,
Yeah.
if you're going to be a jerk to somebody, then don't expect them to, buy your record or tell anybody that you have a record.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Rev Jones is nice, so make sure you tell everybody that he's got a new
Rev
record
Jones
called
is awesome.
Bakwash.
I've been listening to the album this whole week.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. I love it. It's, as a bass player, I love that there's some bass solos and it's not just some bass guy playing the root notes and occasional fills in there, but there's actually bass solos and.
Yeah. I kind of tried, actually 4 of the songs I wrote back in like 94. I was putting a thing together, and it fell apart, so I never put them out. And and they didn't fit with anything I did, after that. So they just sat there. That's what, I kind of pulled them back out. And I didn't change anything. They were exactly the same as they were then.
Oh, cool.
And it's just by chance that it's because how I write. The songs don't sound the same, but they all sound the same. Like they sound like they fit because they're all written by me, But they, it's not like they're written like, in the same time period. So that's a good thing, A lot of times you write stuff over different times and it sounds like whoever you were listening to. And mine kind of sound like everybody I've listened to, It's that influence of music, And, but one thing I always hated that bands had, like who made the rule that every song had to have a guitar solo? Why is there not a drum solo in every song? Why is there not a bass solo? That's why, that first song, Bakwash, it starts off with the drum solo, then the bass solo, and then the guitar solo,
Yeah.
And a lot of them have that, I put in those breaks, so everybody, cause it's gotta be musical.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's pointless. I mean, just doing a guitar solo because it's time for a guitar solo is dumb in my opinion. It's like a singer singing on every part of the song,
Yeah.
it's not cool. You know, it's better whenever, you know, there's nothing happening right here except for maybe, you know, some weird little groove, and then all of a sudden the guitar comes back in. You know, it's like, wow. Yeah.
That's like with a 3-piece band, you got to know your stuff. You can't be hiding behind people. But sometimes there's like 8-piece bands and they don't do anything. It's just all.
Oh yeah. Well, if you're not here, I've always said, if you're not adding to the song, then don't play. You know, I mean, I even told that, you know, on that when we were recording the new Steelheart album, one of those ballads, I couldn't think of anything to play on it.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it was because I didn't really, when I listened to it, it didn't need bass, you know?
Yeah.
And I was trying to tell Millie that. I said, you know, to me, he's like, play something, you know, what do you hear? I said, I don't hear any bass, you know, and I could play a note here and I can play a note here. I can do this, but it doesn't, I'm not adding.
You're not adding to it, yeah.
Yeah. And in a way you can actually subtract when you add stuff, you know, when you put in, you know, something, because that might be stepping on, you know, another thing. You know, it's kind of like, if it doesn't need backup vocals, don't put them on there.
Yeah,
you know?
Kind of thing.
But
if you're doing like "Dust in the Wind" by Kansas and you want to throw in a bass line, that wouldn't be right.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's why you know, it's why there's not some songs have no drums. You know,
mm-hmm. Yeah,
because it doesn't need them. But then you have a song like, say, Jack and Diane, where it didn't have no, you know, drums all through it because they, you know, didn't want them.
Mm-hmm.
But then after they took that click out, you know, that they kept time on, then it sounded stupid. So they had to put that hand clap in there, you know, and that was only there for them to keep time. But without it, it sounded dumb, you know.
Oh, and, I'm going to have to really listen to that guy because next time I hear that song, it doesn't have drums, just hand claps.
Yeah, it's through the first half, and then he comes in with that boom, boom, ba-do, boom, ba-do, that big drum fill, and it's just got a beat there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I think it's there's like a boom, a pop, a boom, crack. You know, it's all hand claps, and you know, but it's funny because that's why the hand claps are in there. And he said you take them out, and it sounded awful because at that point there's no kind of time, you know. And
I never noticed that, but now when I hear it again, I'm going to be thinking about you and what you said.
Well, good. I wrote that song. Go ahead, pay me. No. But yeah, you know, it's but I agree that, you know, there should be something exciting about the, you know, when you add something to a song. You know, hell, even if sometimes the most exciting thing is the most simple thing. You know,
it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be super flashy. Just a little nuance here and there will work wonders in a song as well. So.
Oh yeah, I know. So I go back and listen to some things that I did that I was like, you know, at the time I didn't even think about how cool the part was, and I go back and listen, and I'm like, that's cool that I didn't, you know, like the song New Drug, that, you know, the bass line that starts with the drums, bump 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 bump, you know.
Yeah.
I tried about 50 different things to fit there, and nothing's flowed until, you know, and so I finally found that. And when I hear it now, that's such a cool part, and it's just one note.
Yeah. You know? That song New Drug, it sounds like if there was a single, that sounds like it would be a radio single. It was back in the days. Now you don't. Yeah. You don't hear cool songs like that on the radio.
Well, it's funny, you know. It's everybody kind of, you know, they hear the Van Halen kind of thing in it, you know.
Yeah.
That opening riff, except for what I'm playing, except for the rhythm that's playing under it, is totally different. But then the next part's like an AC/DC kind of guitar part, but the vocal is completely, you know, different. And if you listen to the bass during the verses, I'm going bump, 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 woo, bump. You know, every third, fourth note is a big slide.
Oh, okay.
And it doesn't go with what the guitar and the vocals are doing, but it fills in this gap that you don't even notice that I'm doing it until I point it out. Now you're going to hear it every time.
Now I'll listen to it on the way home today, and I'll be listening for that.
Yeah. But you know, it's like, it's those kind of, you know, those kind of things that, you know, but I didn't, you know, like I said, I didn't really write the songs to all be on an album together, and I didn't write them to, you know, so this crowd would like them or that crowd, you know. I just kind of wrote the songs. Well, I mean, the only thing that they all share besides having cool bass parts and, and how I sing them or whatever, but they've all had this kind of underlying humor in the vocals, in the lyrics.
Yeah, like that blew my mind.
Yeah, there's a lot of these cool little underlying, that polyester song. I had to put it on there because it's funny. I mean, I would love to do a video for that. It would just be every word you hear is explaining what you're seeing. It'd be this coolest nerd guy, walking around like he was something. But it's just so funny, those lyrics, to me, because I always look at it from an outside point of view. I can critique. I can take my critique. It doesn't bother me. If somebody goes, "Those songs are awful," cool. I don't really care.
Listening to the song Bakwash, and typically I don't pay attention to lyrics. I don't know why. That's just me. But I started listening to lyrics and figured out what the song is about. I'm guessing it's about being, busting your ass, working, doing gigs. Yeah. Small little gigs where you, like you said, you get paid either lots of pennies or with the pennies. And like, did you say King Crimson in that song? So,
because I name all the bands that that we always play. Right in a row. We do the cool little Van Halen part in there, and from Romeo's Delight, and then I do the thing from Bob O'Reilly, the Who song, and then there's a little Beatles riff. And, they're kind of slightly different, because I'm not ripping them off. Yeah. But it's that little, that some people still don't catch, They don't realize that riff is supposed to be that, But, it's like, the last guy that actually asked me about that, I guess the way you'd be to explain the Bakwash thing would be, you got a beer, it's all Bakwash. I don't want it.
Yeah.
Well, the way that works is that would be all the alcohol because it's sitting at the bottom of the container.
Mm-hmm.
So you're taking the best part and throw it away. So, and I just think of all these bands that I knew that were great, that just got bypassed by, other bands getting signed or, they were a second too late or even my very first band I was in, Legion Martyr was what we were called. And, we recorded a 2-song demo that cost $200. We had 2 hours and we got two cassettes of it. And, it's killer. I've still had people come up wanting to put it, like release it on a demo collection,
Yeah.
And we were so good. And, I've been playing about a year. We sounded like Iron Maiden and Queensryche, combined. We were all like 15, 16 years old, and we were so good. And to this day, when I listen to it, I'm like, that's unbelievable. That's my first thing I ever did.
Yeah.
But we were so poor that, you didn't have any kind of means of, I don't even know how you would even find a record company address back then.
Yeah, really.
And, there was nobody, scouting around trying to find, bands like us. And, we were so young that if anybody would have seen us, they would have probably went, oh my God, because my two guitar players were both like Yngwie.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And they were so young and, very, very creative in the writing, and the singer sounded kind of like, Jeff Tate a lot, and, which he actually ended up singing on the second Forte album. We brought him in, Bill Dollins. And that's the only other thing he ever did,
Wow.
But, it's cause, if you don't have nobody behind you, nobody, to push you, you still can't. Hell, in Forte, before we got signed, we'd sold 5,000 demos. We were pulling like 500-600 people per show, in several cities, and we couldn't get a record deal,
Yeah.
And there was another band called Mystic Force, and they were the same way. And we were friends with them. They were in Baltimore, and both of us had put out so many, demos that we'd sold so many of. We were huge. We were at all the fanzines.
Yeah.
And they'd always refer to us as the two biggest unsigned bands. And in metal, because before that it was Wrath Child America and Pantera.
Yeah.
Because Wrath Child America, they were getting paid like $3,000 a night playing covers, and same with Pantera. They'd put their own albums out themselves, selling like 20,000 copies of those things.
Yeah. Wow.
And but hell, these days you have all these means of contact and all this, but the problem is there's too many
Yeah.
You know, there's too many places you can't hit the crowd that you're trying to hit, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It's, back in the day, it used to be different, and it's different in its own way now.
Yeah. You only had one rock station back then in every town, and, you know, you only had one video station back then. You know, now you have none.
Or there'd be like one metal radio show once a week, like Sunday night at 3 a.m. Something like that.
So when you did those shows, you knew where to advertise.
Yeah.
You know, and you had only one big, you know, rock magazine or whatever, you know, but now it's like you got 80,000 different places, but you better hope that those people are checking those places out that minute that you put it on there, because, you know, if not, they're not seeing it.
Yep.
You know,
exactly.
And it's a shame, you know. I mean, hell, I talk to people all the time. They're going, "Oh man, I heard so and so's going back on tour," and I'm like, "He never stopped touring. He's here every year." You know, yeah, unbelievable. Like Meatloaf. I mean, that's a perfect example. They came out with "Bat Out of Hell" too. Everybody's like, "Wow, Meatloaf's back."
They've been still around. Yeah,
he never left. You know, or Jeff Beck's another one. You know, they started talking about him when he come back and did that ZZ Top tour. You know, but hell, he's been playing nonstop at clubs.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like now it's a big deal. You know, well, why wasn't he a big deal? You know, at the clubs. You know, it's Jeff Beck.
Yeah.
But
yeah. What do you got going on now that the album's released?
Well, I've been playing shows. I do shows around here. I actually have. You know, Jeff Martin played drums on it from, he's the singer in Racer X, but he played drums for Badlands and UFO, and, he was on the first Shaker album that I was on. So he played drums, and Jim Dofka played guitar. He's had the band Dofka for, you know, like 20 years, and he's one of those shredders. He was, in the 80s, he was that good, you know.
Okay, yeah.
And, but, you know, one lives in West Virginia, one lives in Tahoe. Yeah. They're both the same long distance from me.
Yeah.
So, you know, so I have a lineup here. I got a guitar player and drummer they do shows with me here, and, you know, and I'll go do 3 sets at a, you know, bar. We do all my songs that, you know, of the bands I played with, some cool covers, you know.
Yeah, that's good.
And, you know, I mean, it's because I have no problem playing covers, you know. If you're getting paid to play music, you know, there's no problem.
Yeah, as long as it's not all covers, I don't know.
Yeah.
Cover bands kind of.
Yeah, and it's all what you play. I mean, what's cool is that we can play a bunch of covers that most cover bands can't, you know. I mean, there's certain things that you're not going to hear cover bands do, and most of it is because they can't do it, you know. Like, usually you're not going to hear a Metallica song or a Pantera song, or, you know, because if they're playing covers, they probably ain't got drummers that can play that, or they ain't got singers, you know, because even if you don't think that it's, you know, that it takes much talent to sing like that, you still have to have a lot of power.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to sing. So if you're the same guy that's doing, you know, like Maroon 5, you're not going to be able to, you know, do a Hetfield voice.
Yeah.
You know, and so, you know, that's what's kind of cool is that, you know, you can go play cover songs, you know, you can do White Room by Cream and then turn around and, you know, and do, Dragula, you know, you know, or White Zombie song or, you know, or whatever. And it's, you know, cause those are popular songs that were on the same radio.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody knows them, but nobody could do them, you know.
Yeah.
Or even like Tool, you would hardly hear anybody do a Tool song because nobody play the drum part.
They're difficult. They're not.
Yeah.
No knock against AC/DC, but, you know, the joke of the AC/DC drummer, it's the same drum beat with their whole discography.
Yeah. Well, but, you know, even then, it's like, you know, a lot of bands do AC/DC songs, but they don't do them good.
Yeah.
That's why you get people that hate hearing them, but then I start singing one of those songs, and I sound right. And it's like, oh, that's cool, you know. It's like you've heard a million people do Another Thing Coming, you know, Judas Priest.
Yeah.
But if I sing a Priest song, it sounds like, you know, you're like, wow, you can sing it. You know, there's a big difference. I mean, you know, it'd be the same if you heard me do an Elton John song. It probably wouldn't be as good as if you heard somebody that sounded like it, you know.
Yeah.
So in the same thing, you know, but you know, we have fun with it. You know, I will purposely pick any terrible cover. You know? I mean, if somebody comes up, they want to hear it, and they got, they throw a tip in there.
Yeah.
We'll bust out a version of it, but it's still going to sound like us,
Yeah. And don't do Enter Sandman. That's been done to death, and it's over.
My thing, I like to do some, like oddball stuff that, like do it in excess, never tear us apart, never tear us apart. We do that, and we do it like that. I don't really change it, but it sounds like if, like say a band like Metallica, would they cover, like Bob Seger or whatever, they didn't really change it. They just played it like, like them, or, when they played the Tin Lizzy song,
Yeah.
They just kind of do it like them and not really change it, so, and that's kind of cool, if you're going to hear a cover. I mean, I hear these bands try to do these covers and they change it so much that it's weird.
Yeah.
Or they try to do it exactly the same, and it's like, well, if you're going to do it exactly the same, don't,
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's all, I'd much rather, if I go to a club and there's a cover band playing, I would much rather see really good guys, playing a bunch of songs I don't want to hear, playing them good, than really bad guys playing songs I like.
Yeah, that's true. My old bass teacher, he's he's still around, but he was a real great player, and he would do cover gigs because he needs to make money, and it just seeing out there, it makes those songs sound better because he, a talented musician. He's not just a hack doing it there for
exactly. So we, I play around here doing that, with my local, lineup. So, the video that's going to be coming out for Bakwash is actually me and Jeff and, Jim Dofka. It's like, we shot it when we were recording, cause it's different studios, and, added a few things.
Yeah.
And then the next video, because we're going to do another one, we met a guy that wants to shoot a video.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's got helicopters, so that's cool. And, so we'll probably do another one with that. But if I do another video, it'd be with my lineup here, just cause, if there was any tour dates to pop up, that would probably be, these guys with me,
Yeah. What do you think? Hopping on it, just as I'm not sure who you're working with, like hopping on as an opener for Michael Schenker group, because you're going to be there anyway. So
this is what's funny is the last tour, because I was actually supposed to be on the current Michael Schenker thing that, when they first started putting the show together with all the singers,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Michael had called me and Pete Holmes, and originally we were going to be the U.S. rhythm section, and then he had Ted and those guys they were going to have the Europe,
yeah,
and then they were going to actually have a different one for Japan, because Japan loves to have a different,
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it was going to be, I think he even mentioned maybe even doing like me and Ted McKenna, like switching it up there,
Yeah.
And so that was the original plan. He talked to us to make sure we'd want to do it. Well, then they started doing it in Europe, and it was going good. And then Japan wanted the same lineup.
Oh, okay.
And then they started making more money, and they thought, well, we'll just take this to America, same lineup.
Yeah.
And technically, even though it supposedly did real well, because he always does well.
Yeah.
But he's kind of, because, over time, you forget about how big your crowds were, how many shows you played, and this and that.
Yeah.
But he was, instead of playing the normal amount of shows to the normal amount of, people, he was playing smaller venues, sold out, but he was only doing about half the shows. And it might still be successful, but I don't see how it could be more successful money-wise, because you had 3 people that don't live in America that have to have visas, and plane tickets, and there's a lot of weird stuff that happen, which is fine. I mean, I love those guys. Chris Glenn is one of my favorite bass players,
Yeah.
And but and I was going to try to jump on and do some shows on it, but they're not even going to have an opening band coming up because the show's like 3 hours long,
Oh, wow. Okay.
But the last tour, I actually, because I had to be available because he was using Herman Rerbal and Francis from the Scorpions. Michael was using them, so they had visa problems in the past, so I had to be available just in case.
Oh, okay.
So the opening band hired me to be their bass player. So I did a tour, with the opening band, and it was cool because everybody in the crowd knew me.
Yeah.
And it's like I kept telling him, I said, it's like having Tom Hanks in your movie. But the thing is, people are going to watch it, but it better be a good movie because because they're going to come after you, not me.
That's true.
So, but so I'm actually trying to get on, some stuff like that, maybe this summer too.
That'd be good. If you ever made it down to my neck of the woods, I'd definitely come check you out.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I have, because I worked with George Thorogood doing, I'm his guitar tech, and then I play guitar on a couple songs off stage, and it's a cool gig. And, it's actually, that's whenever I left Stillheart, that was part of it is that there wasn't enough gigs coming. And I couldn't turn this work down, and it's because it's not only is it good money, but it's a great gig. It's fun.
Yeah.
Great gig.
That's another guy, George Thorogood. He's still around.
He kills. I mean, he's put it this way: when people say there's no money left in music, whether it's metal, rock, whatever, they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
We have 3 tour buses, a full semi that stay out all year, even when we're not out. And, it's like, we're talking big digits of money.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people out there making that much. And, it's that you listen to people talk about it because they use that as an excuse,
Yeah. A lot of
promoters.
People. Yeah. You're lucky if you break even, that stuff.
Yeah. If you go play in Detroit, and I know this from playing with Shaker, the promoter's going to go, I can't give you that much money. I can't give you a guarantee. The economy's so bad here. We can't, so, we got to, sell cheaper or whatever. And, they act like it's, like it's going to be nobody there. And then every time, then you play and you make a deal with them for less money. Then you play and it's sold out.
Yeah.
Just like every show is there. And you're like, what the hell? It's because the news tells you that there's an economy problem there.
Yeah.
So you believe it, and everybody keeps using it. No, there's, it's like whenever they first started, people started, like downloading stuff for free.
Yeah.
They made it like, oh, that's killed the music business. And you're like, well, why is Britney Spears still selling that many? Those people got computers. I know.
Well, it killed. They say they killed the music business, but that happened back in the day before there was downloads. People would dub tapes. Hey, I got this tape.
Oh yeah.
Let's copy it from our friend.
The only thing it killed. The only thing it killed was that the next generation of kids, they didn't. All they knew was downloading free.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like to. I'm going to buy a CD if it's there, I'm going to buy it. But there's a lot of stuff that I used to go download, especially then, that never made it on CD. I couldn't buy.
Yep.
And then I like to try stuff out too before I'm going to. You test drive a car.
Yeah.
Okay, you test drive the album. Now you can.
Yeah, you
can.
The
problem is
days,
now you don't have to buy it though because you just keep going to YouTube every day and listen to it.
Yeah, that's true.
Or Spotify or whatever. So
back in the day, you'd have to go to a record store, and you can't listen to it before you. Oh, this album cover looks cool, and you buy it. And sometimes it would be awesome, sometimes it would be terrible.
We used to. I mean, it's funny. We used to pick. We used to go to find out. Like if we didn't know anything about the bands because you didn't really have. Well, especially magazines that would talk about. Certain metal bands. So we would go, and especially because it was vinyl, you'd lit that album up. And you look at the picture on the back.
Yep.
And you'd be able to tell what they look like. I mean, hell, that's how I discovered Slayer, I turned that Show No Mercy around, and there's that picture of Jeff Hanneman holding that upside down cross with that eye makeup on, and I was going, oh, this is going to be awesome. And of course I had no earthly idea that it would, that they would still be together.
Yeah.
and have been bigger than, 1,000 people's shows,
Yeah.
and that's awesome. I love them.
Yeah. There's some bands out there that were great, but they only made one album, then they disappeared. But then there's other bands that stay around, and so
it's like the guy from Kerrang's is in one of Bob Nalbandian's Inside Metal documentaries. He said, I think that's where it was at. He said that you never thought about the fact that, you never expected the Metallica and Slayer were going to be the bands that, that kept going 30 years later, 40 years later, and all the bands you expected to all broke up and just, and Slayer's like our generation of the Rolling Stones, or the Who.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they've been around that long and they never stopped, I mean, Metallica, stopped for a while or whatever, but Slayer just kept going,
Yeah, keep on chugging. Yeah,
pretty awesome, I mean, I way more respect for him. I always respected him anyway, but I way more respect for him when I actually put that into my perspective of them, And I wouldn't seen him this year and took my wife because she had never been to a thrash show, and it was kind of funny because I didn't even think about that. But here we are, maybe 3 rows back from the stage, kind of in a slight VIP area, but not really.
Oh,
and I felt completely safe because everybody there was old. In the old days, they would have been running, in a circle, killing each other, and now they're just, kind of putting their hands up, going Slayer, So it was kind of funny, but
there's an old bit by the comedian Jim Brewer where he talks about taking his wife or girlfriend at the time to a Slayer concert, and the lights go out and everybody starts going insane. It's like a big roar. People go Slayer, and people are trampling over everybody.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, hell, I kind of thought, hey, we better stand back over here, but
exactly.
Might get a little rough. And then after they started, I went, oh yeah, these guys. There was like one guy in the very back of it was like an outdoor amphitheater. There was one guy in the back. He had a circle going by himself. But it's
being in a pit is when you get older, you don't want to be in that. And as long as you're respectful, if there's that asshole guy punching people, that's not cool.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, back when all that was kind of first hit in the metal, and I was into it, but if you're not having fun on stage, why would you want your crowd to have fun? And that was the difference. Is back then, it happened because everybody's having fun, And I clearly remember being out on tour with Pantera, and they started getting in trouble because people were getting hurt.
Yeah.
And they had lawsuits against him because Phil was being sued for enticing a riot.
Oh yeah.
Saying, I need some movement on this song. Our stage is your stage, and fucking out, you got some people flying out, and at a certain point you had 100 people on stage trying to stage dive.
Yeah.
Who's in the crowd?
Yeah, I've seen shows like that. It's after a while, it's annoying. It's like, come on, get off the stage. I'm not here to see you guys jump off the stage.
And then then it started getting to where now you got these people just trying to hurt other people, and you don't know who's out there, and nobody's having fun anymore, and it's like people are taking it like serious.
Yeah.
And it's not about that. It's about having fun. It's just like playing. When I look up and I see somebody that looks so annoyed that they have to play music. And I mean, I just want to go up and hit them, like,
well, what are you doing?
I know people like that. I got to go play a show, and what? You're getting paid to play music. And the way I always look at that is it's like you're getting paid to play a video game, or you're getting paid to play a sport.
That's like a baseball player. I gotta go out here. I'm making $800,000 per game. It's like, well, it's
exactly.
A game. Have fun.
And you had to have at least liked it enough or loved it enough to get good.
Yeah.
So you're doing something and being paid to do something that you at one point in your life love to do. So if you don't love it anymore, it's probably your fault.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And but if you look up on the stage and the guy's just standing there, bored out of his head, why would he expect anybody in the crowd to be any different?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
And that's why bands like all bands that I've been in back in those days, and Pantera and Rapchild and all that's why those crowds were so into it, because Phil Anselmo was the best frontman that there ever was back in those days. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he was when he said something, you did it. You know, it wasn't somebody trying to act tough. You know, it's got a weird clown mask on or something, telling you how to, telling you how to don't listen to your parents. You know, be yourself. You're like, yeah, you're Krusty the Clown. You know, it's not like or some skinny guy out there going, "You motherfuckers start moving." You know, it's like, come on, this is it's stupid. It's like Phil would be up there, and if he told you to do something, you're like, okay, because it was no act. He was being himself. And he was so to the point where he screwed himself up, screwed his back up, and started having to drink more and start taking pills and all that stuff. Because he had to still go out and do it every night. I know for a fact my knee was so jacked up I couldn't even hardly walk for years from jumping around on stage. My back and neck still are to this day.
Yeah.
From jumping around acting like an idiot. But if I get on stage, I'm gonna do it. I can't, even if I'm in a body cast. You're gonna start seeing the body cast move,
Yeah, definitely.
And it's just something that happens, and it's something that was kind of put in my mind young when I played sports, that you have to go out and do it. Give 100%. You have to.
You're all,
Yeah, and a lot of bands these days that are really good. They might be really good at what they do. Even if I don't like them, I'd still acknowledge when somebody's good.
Yeah.
But it's like a lot of them that I don't see any reason why the crowd should like them.
Exactly.
They don't do anything, and it's not just about playing. If it's just about playing so they hear your music, just sell records.
Yeah.
You shouldn't go out and tour because you're not giving them anything extra.
Yeah.
And that's a shame. That's why if you go see somebody like Lady Gaga, you're getting a show.
Yeah, he may not like her, but he definitely puts on a show.
Yeah, you're going to get this killer show. I mean, if and there's certain bands like that. No matter what, you're going to get a show. I don't like hardly any Rolling Stones songs, but they're one of the best bands you'll ever see live. And I don't really like anybody in the band in particular. I mean, but they put on. There's no better front man than Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
He starts dancing around, and you're going, "Oh yeah, that's cool." I mean, I don't know why it's cool. But, look at him. He's awesome,
Because they've been doing it so long, yeah.
Yeah, and it's so funny that those bands still know. Even you go see The Who right now, and Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend are still going to be killing.
Yeah.
And they're 70 years old.
Yeah.
And they've never stopped doing it. They've been doing it the whole time,
Yeah.
And did you go see some of these bands that are new, and you're like, is he 70? Is he standing there like he is?
25-year-old kid doing nothing up there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, and these days, that's a big problem too. There's a lot of good bands, but you can't tell if they're good or if they, it's all backing tracks.
Yeah.
Because so many people use them. And I can tell you right now, people that you would never think use tons of backing tracks are out there just, and, people defend them. This band doesn't use them. Yeah, they do. I watched them do sound check today, and they weren't even here. And I try not to tell people about those bands because I hate telling somebody's view of them, but I will tell somebody if they're going to go spend $200 to see a band. I'm like, yeah, they don't play any songs.
Yeah.
But it's so I mean it's a weird thing. I keep getting asked the same question about the state of the music business, how I see it, and it really isn't that much different,
we see these news articles that rock is dying, and it's not really.
Yeah, well,
things change.
Rock is exactly the same as it's ever been.
Yeah.
There's always going to be something that's more powerful, that the weaker music, but it's going to be way bigger. Whether it's disco, or it's rap, or it's R&B, or it's country, they all go through these cycles, and the thing is that rock has been here, rock and hard rock, metal, whatever, has been here all this time, and it hasn't gone anywhere.
Yeah.
But all those other styles that came up and took over for a long time, they're gone. They all become the next one,
They come back, like the hair metal is back as well. That died out with grunge, but it's coming, came back. So
yeah, you can't tell, you can't tell me that metal and rock is dead whenever you got bands like Five Finger Death Punch and Korn and bands like that playing arenas.
Yeah, Judas Priest is still around. And
yeah, and you got those guys playing arenas. Well, it's hard to sell any tickets in an arena.
Oh, yeah.
So if one band, you can't, if it was one band doing it, then it would be a fluke. But there's several bands there. I mean, hell, even though it's Christmas, TSO sell out 4 shows a day because they had 2 bands.
Oh, yeah.
for 2.5 months every year playing Christmas songs, metal.
They're booked, yeah.
Yeah, and they make more millions than any other band.
Yeah.
And that's heavy metal.
Yeah.
That's sabotage, basically,
Yeah.
And members of every band that you ever liked that they said would never, amount to anything. So,
yeah.
So you can't, believe on that. You get some of these big, rappers and R&B guys and all this that you hear constantly about. Well, you never really hear, about them. They never play certain areas,
Yeah.
They, it's only those, big city areas, because a lot of those people come here, they can't sell any tickets. I'm in the middle of the United States, and some of them can, some of them can't,
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. And I feel like we could keep talking and talking, but.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I want to.
You didn't ask me any bass questions.
I didn't. I'm going to have to wait till another time. Might have to do part two of this interview.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm a rambler.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine with me. It's all good stuff. So we'll have to maybe set up a secondary interview, perhaps.
Yeah. Anytime. Yeah. Just let me know.
And that would be cool. So we'll hit on some other stuff.
Cool. Great.
Yeah. So let people know where they can find you.
Yeah.
You can go to revjones.com and
you can go
your stuff.
Yeah. revjones.com. It's updated now. It wasn't for years because I was lazy, but that, if you're on Facebook, it's, Rev Jones Bass would be the name, and, pretty much my albums, all the streaming outlets, it's available.
Google Play, Amazon, all that stuff.
Yeah. Spotify, anything like that.
Yeah.
You can buy it on, CD Baby, you can buy it on, Amazon, iTunes, all the standard places it's available. And it's a pretty good album.
Yep. I love it. It's one of those albums that you like right away. It's not an album that you have to listen to repeatedly to get.
Yeah. And I like to, and one thing I like to add on it is that, it comes, and I'm speaking of the album cover, it comes with a free picture of Rev Jones, whenever he was less than a year old, holding what appears to be an alcoholic beverage.
Oh, that's you on the cover.
Yeah. That was December 26, 19 something.
I was going to say,
I was 12.
That your son or something?
Yeah. I was originally going to use my son because he looks exactly like me and he's 2. It's going to be probably my next album I'll do it because he'll be a little older.
Yeah.
I have a version of my bass that is made for him that Dean made for me. And,
nice.
It's real cool, but he needs to be a little bigger, but I was going to do that. And then, I've had that picture of me when I was 12, I was 12 months old. So, and I had 50 different pictures of me with beer, and that one was the perfect one. So, and I had to do the artwork myself because I'm poor. I can't afford anybody, which, after seeing a couple of these other albums that just came out that I played on, still hard. I'm kind of, it's like, wow, I don't feel so bad about my artwork now.
Yeah, definitely.
But,
all right.
So anything to do with me, you can find on those sites.
Okay, great.
And also for bass players, just so you know, if you go to my website, there's a bass lessons link, a little tab there. And every month I just put the first one up. I actually show you how to play Bakwash.
Yeah, I saw that. I watched it.
Yeah. And, so every month I'm going to throw a free video bass lesson up. And, and if you want to, people want to take lessons from me, like Skype lessons, there's a link there with information and stuff as well. So, and you can buy my instructional DVD while you're on the same page.
Cool.
So.
All right.
Well, thanks for having me.